Howdy, friends and floorheads. Welcome to episode 6 of the Forbidden Stream, where we're playing Free League's Forbidden Lands. Before we launch into it, real quick, there I have a Kickstarter right now. So, depending on when you're watching this, we've got two new books that involve Eric Grandstrom, who's been on the podcast. I backed it. One is a bestiary, one explores a whole separate lands to the west of Ravensland. So make sure you hop over to Kickstarter and let's support Free League because they put out some fantastic stuff. Second of all, we've got a bit of a casting change. Bad news and good news. So the bad news is that Mae Fox, who's been playing Vasilla, will not be continuing playing her, but it's because she has started going back to college. So she's in school again, which is fantastic for her. And then I guess it's good news. We've got a replacement, and that is Nick Westbrook is going to be playing Vasilla, who played, I think it was in episode 3. So let's go ahead and bring in the cast. So welcome everybody. It feels like forever.
It has been too long.
It's been like a month and a half, I think, since we've played. So for those that are not watching these back to back, it was a pretty exciting episode 5. We encountered a lab beast that chased us across a bridge into the nest of 2 harpies. Vasilla saved us from the harpies by giving them some goodies. You then ran away, got to a drawbridge.
We executed a tactical withdrawal.
That is exactly right. And then Sten, with his Robin Hood-like skills, shot the mechanism that was keeping the drawbridge drawn. The drawbridge dropped. You guys decided to sleep the night, rest up. So we are waking up the next morning. So this is the 11th day of Springwain. You guys have been 11 days away from Oakenheart. So you awaken, getting a sense that you can't go back or don't have a strong desire to go back. And looking forward, you start crossing the bridge. And as you cross the bridge, I'm imagining Vasilla's the one that hears it first. And it's the sound of gore and feasting. And all of you turn your heads to the left and back to the land bridge that you crossed and were chased by this beast. You can see our friend, this lab beast, this Frankenstein monster of multiple different animal parts that have been sewn and molded together. And you can see that it looks like it did find dinner, or at least breakfast now, as you see it feeding on one of the harpies.
Oh.
Well,
Great.
it seems one of our threats takes care of the other. At least they're busy
it wasn't
fighting
any of us.
each other. Yeah.
So you kind of stand there looking at just the face of this thing buried into the gut of this large harpy. Blood and just gorged all over its face. It does look up and makes eye contact with the 4 of you. And then goes right back to eating again.
About how far away is it?
So I would imagine at this point it's about maybe 150 yards away. As the crow flies, literally at this point, because you guys are on this bridge that spans the chasm, taking you kind of to the main area of the tower of Weatherstone.
Just taking a quick look to see what the maximum bow range is. I almost took the talent last time that lets you do long range shots with no penalty, but I did not. It's probably not worth it.
Let's not entice this thing.
Yeah, well, believe me, I think it's enticed enough. I'm not finding that. It's not worth worrying about.
Yeah, save your arrows. We don't know what lies beyond.
Great, thanks for the reminder.
Before we find out if this thing can jump that far.
That too. So what's our situation here? We're in a new courtyard beside this drawbridge.
So right now I have you literally on the drawbridge. So behind you was kind of the alcove that where you slept the night before. Ahead of you is a darkened hallway that you can only see so far in from the sunlight itself. And you're essentially looking down back to your left. That's where you're seeing, and all of that's pretty much happening like right down in here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we have nowhere to go but forward.
You're not wrong. Let's go.
I'll light up my lantern.
Okay.
And
Let's go ahead and give that a torch roll for your oil.
Gear, torches.
All right. With a 3, you're fine. For those that are not familiar with Forbidden Lands, the way they handle a lot of the expendable resources is it has a die. And if you roll that die and do not roll a 1 or a 2, you get to basically keep that die. But if you roll a 1 or 2, it downgrades. Right now, you're at a D6. So if you were to roll a 1 or a 2 now on that lantern, you would be out of oil. So with the lantern on, you can now see much farther into this hallway. And structurally, pretty much the same as what you've seen. This is a very, very old castle, and it's a combination of being built and carved. So part of it is carved into the side of this mountain. Some of it's built on top of the mountain. You can tell very quickly on this hallway where things start to get older, more dank, more of the smell. You can tell that you're going into the mountain and working your way in deeper. And as you kind of look through, you find a couple rooms, and it looks like servants' quarters and multiple different points of disarray. I'm imagining you search through, finding nothing of significance, and that takes you just a little bit of time. And there's a couple half flights of stairs as you work your way through the halls. So as you continue east, you're also moving up a half story at a time. The first significant thing that happens is everybody's favorite thing in a dungeon, a closed door. It's a large oak door. You can see that the wood has seen better days, but the oaken bar, or the iron bars that hold it together seem sturdy. What
Craig,
would you
have we
like
been
to
seeing bodies or remains in this section like we did in some of the lower areas?
You have not. In fact, really, what you have not seen. So in a couple of instances, like in the lab, if you remember, Brian, you found somewhat fresh body parts, right? You saw signs that things have been here before. As you go through this section of Weatherstone, you're not seeing that at all. Any tapestries have been long decayed and turned to dust, and there's been no sign of bones or anything along those lines.
And this
Sure,
was a
that's
close
good sign.
drawbridge, so it's unlikely that there's living people here, that being the critical keyword, living. Unless the harpies, right? The harpies can fly. So, but
Doesn't
and
seem like they've disturbed much of this, though.
the bar is on this side, so we're looking at the bar, right? Is that what you said for the
Or were
closed
you
door?
talking about just the iron bands on the door?
Yeah, so it's not. I don't mean a bar as in closing
okay,
it.
I
I'm just talking about
understood.
the bands that hold the wooden door
Okay.
together. So it's a wooden door held together by iron bands.
Oh, okay. All right. Misunderstood. Well, let's go check it then. If there's no other ways out of here, we'll go check it. Test it slightly, see if it's locked or.
Yeah, it's not locked. So Oshrik, you're going to go ahead and open it. It opens in towards you.
Oh, okay. Perhaps Vasila should open this, because we don't know what lies beyond. The
Right,
rest of us will stand ready.
Also, you're easy to shoot over.
True. I thought it was
Yeah, but
easier
if
to
she pulls
die,
it
but I
in-
like easier to shoot over better.
If she pulls it in, she's hidden by the door, so
Mm.
whatever's there
That's true.
will be facing us.
That's
I
true,
draw my
so-
sword and stand ready.
Yep. So we've got
Vasila goes
Sten.
up to the door and
Knife.
looks back at the rest of the party, waiting, making sure that I know when to open it. So everybody
Maybe just give her a nod.
Yep.
okay? Slowly start creaking it open, not even looking in the other way. I'm just slowly just following orders, pulling back.
So we see our halfling Vasilla pulling the door open, and as the door opens, we see the light from Osric's lantern start to fill the room. And immediately you can tell this is possibly the largest room that you've seen yet. In fact, as the light fills, you don't see any sense of the roof. So at a minimum, the room is at least 15, 20 feet tall. On the ground from where you're standing, you see books and papers in all kinds of different condition. So some books have been torn and ripped to pieces. Some have decayed to the point where if you touched one of the books, you could tell it would just fall a piece in your hands. And looking a little bit to the right-hand side, you can see bookcases with ladders that lead up to much higher shelves. Some of the bookcases have a few books on them. Some of them are empty. You can see the dust.
Is there a desk, or is this just put bookcases on the walls?
So as you kind of move a little bit farther in and the light fills the room a little bit more, you do see a desk. At the far end, you can see a large reading desk. And it must have been very, very well made. It almost looks like from where you're standing that was carved from maybe a single piece of wood. Just very impressive, very ornate, and has survived the time much better than a lot of the shelves and the books around the area. It doesn't take long for you to see among the books on the ground, among the papers on the ground, there's also what would have been at some point probably guards in armor, but now it's just rusted armor, some old weapons, some old swords, and skeletons, essentially. Pure white at this point, so well decayed, very, very old. Any type of life and meat that was on these long went away.
I will move closer to the desk, and I say to the others, perhaps the master of this castle left some notes or a diary or some such behind. Let's go have a look.
Sure, there's something we can find in here. There's so much information here. Like Aldrich's kind of enamored. There's just like a whole library of unknown, untapped knowledge is pretty exciting, and he's kind of trying to contain himself and not cause a ruckus.
Sten will sort of gesture Vasilla in and then kind of close the door just in case the beast decides to come a-wandering.
And Aldrich, as you're kind of like looking at the books, none of these are books that you've ever heard of, titles that you've never seen. And, a lot of them are encyclopedic in nature. So, the nature of the wolf and books kind of like, along those lines. On the desk, though, Osric, as you get closer to the desk, you see scattered papers, and there appears to be a leather-bound journal that's tied with a leather rope that has it closed. It's there. You can see what was, I'm sure, at one point a inkwell, though there's no feather there anymore. And you can see dried ink at the very bottom of the inkwell itself.
Aldrich, Vasilla, take a look at this. This may be a journal. Might hold some clues to whatever remains of this castle.
Yeah, Vasilla walks up to that desk, being the last one in, kind of scoots by everybody and kind of hops up on the little chair and starts going through the journal and any notes that. And is there anything in particular that I would know? It seems like Vasilla's pretty good with lore. She might be able to figure something out that others wouldn't.
Yeah, so you grab the leather journal, you untie the leather string that kept it closed, and you open it, and This is literally a hand journal. So this is not a printed book. This has been handwritten, and on the first couple pages, they've been torn away. But reading through it, it appears to be a lot of bookkeeping. So inventories, stores for Weatherkeep. And it appears, based off of some of the things that you read, that this was actually King Elgorod's journal. So the legendary king that was mentioned to you by the minstrel that you met at the very beginning, as the king of Weatherstone. And as you flip through, there's a couple things that I think you notice, Vasilla. One, the handwriting degrades as you get further through, and whether that's age or something else that's causing that, that's not clear, but you do notice a difference in the handwriting as you flip pages left to right. As I said, most of it is not very interesting, though you do come across two folded sheets of paper that are towards the back of the journal itself. And I'm going to go ahead and show you
Handouts.
the first one. So you should now see,
Legend of Neck.
yeah,
Hmm.
you should be able to widen that. So, and I'll read this for those watching. The Legend of Nekhaka. This is in his handwriting. It is said that Elgorod, the first king of Outerland, was so wise and good that the gods turned his heart into a ruby after his death. Elgodan, son of Elgorod, had his craftsmen carve the scepter Nekhaka with 3 pennants for the golden alder trees of the royal palace, set his father's ruby in the scepter. Nekhaka was carried by the Algarian dynasty for generations, but was lost in Ravenland when the last regent and husband to Zygerfer's daughter, king of Algorand of Weatherstone, was slain with all of his men by the demonic hordes of Zygerfer. Some say Nakata lies in Weatherstone under the dead king's protection. Others claim that Zygerfer's daughter, Queen Thurania, brought it back to him when she left Weatherstone and her dead husband. The elven elders instead claim that Elgored was an elf disguised as a human, and that his ruby heart was one of the 6 stones in the crown of Staginist. Now, seeing it's been about 2.5 months since you had your conversation with our minstrel, some of that ties to what that minstrel talked to you about. There was talk of collecting the crown, collecting the rubies, and that would allow Zygerfer to free Ravensland of all of the demons.
Yeah, that's what the other treasure hunter said they were looking for.
Yeah. 6 shards. The shards are elves. Russ brothers collect the shards to help Zygerfer. So this jives with it, and we heard mention this scepter Nakata. So here we go. This is again the elven elders was an elf disguised as a human in his ruby heart. So the ruby heart might be one of the 6 shards, right? 6 stones in the crown standing gist.
You say.
Interesting.
Greg, while these guys are huddled around the desk reading up, Stan is not much of a book guy. He's just kind of walking the perimeter of the room to see if there are any other exits we need to watch and just make sure there's nothing else weird in here.
Yeah, there is a very long staircase going up, several stories, and then you can see that the staircase itself turns beyond your visibility. So without going up the stairs, it'd be difficult to tell.
Okay,
where
there's no
that
door;
goes.
it's just directly onto the stairs.
Correct.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on that for sure.
It's a bit
Is there
concerning.
any?
Oh, go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, is there any indication of when the last entry was written down? A date, anything that ages it at all?
So the last time you see a date is at least a couple hundred years ago. But to be honest with you, the last 15, 20, 30 pages turn into scribbles and chaos. So there's the entries are no longer dated. It's no longer inventories and records. It kind of devolves. Now, we talked about the one folded paper. There was actually a second folded paper. So I'm going to share that real quick. In the same handwriting, and this one reads, in days past, the bloodthirsty giant Scrame ravaged the land. The stories tell of how the shield maiden Viridia slew him with the sword Malagarn, the giant slayer. She received help from Scrome, the giant's brother, whose reward was to be appointed guardian of the gate where the deceased enter the underworld. But Viridia sustained such grave wounds during the battle against Scrame that she died soon after. The emerald that had made up her heart was set in the crown Stanagist, but it later said to have been moved to the sword Malagorn. The weapon has been lost for a long time.
2 hearts, 2 stones.
Interesting that these tales would be collected here.
And
Maybe
there are
the king was looking for them.
Yeah, there's sketches in this journal of a crown, where obviously there's places and where rubies could be set. There's mentions of the crown in there and the search for these, and this being the secret of freeing his wife from her evil sorcerer father, Zygofer. So it would appear that our long dead king felt that maybe this crown could be a key to defeating Zygofer. Which, and if it wasn't clear, apparently is
Right.
the father of his wife.
Right. And again, the Russ brothers are collecting the 6 shards to help Zygofer. So
Yeah,
he
they
needs
sure
the
are.
stones. So if we deny him the stones, that's always good. Seems one is in the scepter and one is in the sword. And apparently they used to be in the crown. So yeah, so that could mean that maybe the crown still holds a stone. Who knows? So we got scepter, crown, and sword. So at least 3 stones. We probably know, where they are in the sense of we know which item they're linked to. We have no idea where they are, except that the scepter may lie in Weatherstone here under the dead king's protection. Otherwise, it went back to Zygofer, taken to him by the king's wife, who was Zygofer's daughter.
Not sure which possibility I like less.
But strangely, this is an emerald. Well, it makes sense. One of the 6 stones in the crown stand, just it doesn't say. So we know one's a ruby, one is an emerald, but both are likely shards described by our minstrel.
And it says they were both people's hearts, too, which might be a pattern.
elven hearts.
Seems odd.
Yeah, and Vasilla, you don't need to roll for this. You know the legend of what's inside of every elf. That the essence of every elf is a shard in its heart, and that if an elf's body dies, the soul and spirit of the elf retreats to the shard, and then regrows a new body around it.
I think the question is, and I mean, this probably be one of those burn this bridge when we come to it situations, but depending on if these rumors or legends are true, are we ready to face the consequences of unearthing these artifacts?
That's a good question.
That
What
is
do we
true.
do with them?
Well, we know that, again, the Rust brothers are seeking the items. So if we find one of these, then we need to be extra careful of the Rust brothers.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Definitely don't want to be found with one of those in our pockets.
Oh, and I don't want them. Frankly, Zygofer may have been a great king, but I don't like the idea of anybody who raised a bunch of demon armies getting a hold of these things.
True.
Anything else meaningful in there?
Spending some time looking around, I think that's probably the most significant thing that that's in there. Again, you've got, I would venture to guess, maybe 6 or 8. It's really difficult to tell because of the condition of things. About 6 to 8 guards that were once guards. Some of them are somewhat intact. Some of them are just piles of bones and armor at this point. And then, like I mentioned, parchments, papers, books of various conditions. The one thing that's real difficult to tell is how the room got into this condition. Was it just time and elements, or was it ransacked at some point? Whatever it was, it happened so long ago. It's very difficult to discern what put the room in this disarray.
From what you're saying, it sounds like the king was losing his mind at the end. He may have just gone mad.
Perhaps him and his guard were in here when the mist fell and this wasn't home.
Could be.
Maybe
Well,
a dumb question, but are all of these bone piles on the ground with armor, are they all alike in that there's nobody that's different? Are they all a similar quality of armor?
None
And
with a crown on the helmet or anything.
Yeah, so they
right,
all have
yeah.
the same sigils, the same markings. There's maybe a couple sense of ranks, so maybe you see slight differences between them, but yeah, it would appear that King's Guard is really kind of what your best guess is here.
I want to make my way over to a few of the piles, or whatever area has maybe a few of these bodies, and see if there's any damage to the armor, as if they were bludgeoned or dinged, or if it might have been a natural drop of consciousness and just died over the years.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do a roll for that, because I think
Okay.
that's an excellent thing to try to figure out. So what would I like to do? Let's do an insight roll.
Insight.
It'll be under your wits.
All right. Starting all over again, Craig.
So 4 dice. We got no successes, and we have a bane. The bane means nothing now, but if you want to spend some extra time really investigating this, you'll be able to pick up 3 of those dice and re-roll them, but you're guaranteed to take 1 damage to your wits, at least 1 damage, assuming you don't roll another bane. Is it worth it,
Pretty
Priscilla?
sure they're dead.
I've got this weight of Maeve on my shoulders that I don't want to mess up her character. I'm gonna assume I don't find anything.
Well, let me tell you what you do. I mean, because obviously
Okay.
you see something, right? So as best as you can tell, at some point this armor was in excellent condition. So you don't see any cracked armor. You don't see any large dents in the armor. You don't see bite marks in the armor itself. So difficult to say how they died. But it does not appear to be they were at any point participated in battle without getting either the armor replaced or fixed.
Okay. I would communicate that with the party
Yep.
as I investigate. And there's no jewel or diamond or any kind
no
of
treasure,
nothing
treasure
around.
to be
No.
found.
Okay. Had to ask.
Yep.
All right. Vasila's going to start making her way over to Sten, kind of looking up at the stairway going up, and just out of curiosity, what kind of hinting that it might be time to see what else is in this area.
I don't think there's much else to find here.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I haven't seen or heard anything going on that stairway all this time.
No. I do want to know what we're doing with this journal and these papers. Are we going to leave them on the desk? Are we taking them with us?
I think Aldrich would probably pack them away and bring them
Okay.
with him.
Yeah, we might need to reference details later.
Plus, hey, some decent paper.
That's true.
All right. Well, shall we head on up?
Yeah, and the staircase is about 10, 11 feet wide. So if you'd like to go 2 by 2, we can. So if I can just get an idea of marching orders as we're headed up. So how do we want to go up these?
Stan would certainly want to be in the back.
Yeah, probably Aldrich and Ostrich in the front, Sten and Vasila in the back.
Okay.
Sure.
So, swords
Do we
drawn.
want Vasila
arrow
to
knocked.
just hold the torch kind of below in front
I mean,
of you, and you can swing over?
I've got the lantern.
Okay.
So
Okay. You can
I got my lantern
cast
and my knife.
spells. with-
Vasila's just
yeah.
hiding, looking behind Aldrich.
All I can tell you is that if I'm a king someday, there's not going to be any bloody stairs in my castle. All one less.
You begin to work your way up the stairs, and you can see that at some point the staircase was lavishly furnished with tapestries. You can see a frame of a large painting at the very top of the landing. The picture itself is long decayed away. And you get to the landing. It's a 180 to then continue up another flight of stairs to a door that's a flight up. The door is open. It opens inward to wherever that entrance is, to whatever that leads to. And judging how many flights and half flights you've gone up, and kind of as you've worked your way through this, getting a sense of where you are in the greater Weatherstone, it would appear that this would lead to the very top of Weatherstone.
Hmm. Well, might as well. And this is the one way we see forward, right? It's not like there's other.
This appears to be the only exit out of this room, and as you've explored elsewhere, essentially it's back to the drawbridge or forward.
Well, let's keep going. At least we'll get a good view of the land.
There's always something good in the tallest tower.
That's true.
So you work up the second flight of stairs, and as you work your way into the room, it's the first time you see remnants of a rug on the ground, on the floor. You see a bed, a large canopied bed in the back center of the room. You also get a smell of mold, which is not new as you've been kind of journeying through Weatherstone. It's all had that dank smell to it, but you also smell perfume, kind of a sweet honey smell that seems to waft from the room itself. Overall, the room seems less touched by time. So there's pictures on the wall, paintings, and they don't seem nearly as decayed as before. There's dust. You can see dust, but not nearly as deep and as thick as you've seen elsewhere, including the library that you just left. To the right of this large canopy bed is the largest picture that you can see, and it's a painting of a woman, and it's almost life-size. So the painting itself is nearly 5 foot tall, and it's a painting of a woman who's crowned with a beautiful thin face, and it seems like a gown made of layers of silks and cloth with regal, intricate designs painted. And of course, as you work your way up the steps, you slowly get level with the bed and are able to see the bed. And the bed has a sheet, and laying across the sheet is covering what appears to be somebody. So the shape of a person. So as best as you can tell, someone's lying in the bed and is covered head to toe by this sheet. Looking around, you see desks, an area with a mirror, maybe where the lady of the house would get ready. You see an area with a latrine. There's basins. There's some pottery. But if you had not gone through all of Weatherstone as far as you have, you would venture to guess that maybe this room was last occupied maybe 20, 30 years ago, as opposed to 150, 200, 300 years ago, as everything else seemed to have been.
It seems
Sorry, go ahead.
seems to be the queen's bedchamber, Thurania. So perhaps she did not flee back to her father and yet remains here.
Is there movement to the body in the bed, like the rise and drop of breathing?
Does not appear to be moving at all. There's a little bit of a draft. So you pause for a second when you see kind of a flitter at the corner of the sheet itself, and then you quickly realize that it's probably just the draft from some of the windows on the far side.
Well, wizard, do you sense anything?
Oh, that's the thing I can do.
I don't know.
I
It
can
is.
detect magic.
I'm just.
Is there anything, or are we?
So, yes. And it seems centered on the bed. It seems to be a neutral feel. So you don't get a sense of demon or evil or good and pure. But it's a kind of a sense of the bed seems to be some source of power. You're also getting it from the painting as well. And I'm imagining, well, first of all, let me ask you, when you're sensing magic, what does that look like?
I like the idea for Aldrich that it's a taste. So like he'll breathe in and breathe out, and like say it was a more evil magic, it'd almost be probably maybe like a rotten taste or a spicy taste, something unpleasant. Whereas something like this is just kind of, I don't want to say bland, but kind of like a soup almost.
Yeah.
It's just there, something neutral.
Neutral's a great word, and that's exactly what it tastes like. So you definitely get a taste. It's a neutral taste, and like I said, the source of it is stronger from the bed and from the painting. And I get a sense as you are focused on the painting itself, there's a half second where you wonder if she blinked.
Interesting. I can't help but have the feeling that perhaps we're being watched. There's magic here. Not inherently malicious, but it is here. We should be cautious. Not that we haven't been.
Well, should we call her name? I mean, one shouldn't go into a lady's bedchamber without knocking, I imagine.
It's not
Is
a bad
she-
thought, Sven.
Vasilla almost wants to sing a little tune to kind of wake her up. Everybody likes to be
Reverse
woken up to
lullaby.
a
Do
nice
we want her to
little
wake
song.
up?
Well,
I mean,
that's the thing.
gently, preferably.
This is Therania, the daughter of Zygofer. What reaction shall we get? Because as far as we know, is according to Dahl, the minstrel, this Zygofer was a force for good, but everything else we've read says that the Zygofer is evil.
I mean, we
So,
also have the implication that he and his daughter were not necessarily on the best of terms if she was away from him.
Okay.
yeah, if she did not return as the legend said. I don't know. Perhaps she knows the way out of this castle. That does not imply going back through the drawbridges, one of which we've lost already, right? We lost the first bridge, or we don't know if we still
Well,
have
No, he didn't manage to knock it down.
it. Didn't manage, okay.
He was trying, but we shot him
True.
away.
True.
Well, I think these questions may be moot unless she's actually alive in some fashion. So
That's true.
perhaps we should try to politely find out.
I like the song idea. I think Vasilla should try to rouse this individual.
I'm not going to try to arouse her, but I will try to rise her.
Rouse, not arouse.
You do you.
Yeah, Vasilla looks up for that one moment of someone going along with her plan, and she just starts slowly going into a song. And no, I won't sing, but my character definitely does sing.
Good morning.
I would
Good
like to
morning.
know maybe a theme or a subject of the song.
A song of peace and melancholy. Melancholy, is that no, not melancholy. Peace and love. Just taking care of, maybe not family, now that I think about it, but uh the smell of flowers and uh, uh I don't know. I can make any song work, so I'll,
All
I'll
right,
just
but
run with peace and love.
all right. So somewhat melancholy, somewhat soothing, maybe.
Yeah,
given the
there we go.
connection
Soothing. I like
that
soothing.
given the connection we've read so far, I would almost suggest Vasilla, maybe a love song.
I like it. Let's do it.
So Vasily, you start playing, and as the first few notes come from your lute, and you begin really what can only be described as just an angelic voice. Your three compadres, fellow party members, are not soothed at all. There's a sense of tension where every muscle is taut, waiting to see if there's going to be a reaction as the song carries and fills the room. By the second verse, I think everybody has decided that maybe there is nothing that's happening as a result of your playing and your singing, but it's definitely not due to lack of beauty or talent.
Mid-second verse, I'm walking around trying to get a glimpse of what this thing in this bed looks like, and try to see if just try to investigate a little bit further.
So as you're kind of walking around playing the lute and singing, I'm imagining maybe you're the first one to get really close to the bed, and understand this is a large bed, so easily 15 feet square. So the king of king-sized beds. And for you, Vasilla, it comes right up to your nose. So it would take some effort for you to climb onto this bed. But getting as close as you do, you look, and everybody's been talking about this being her room. and the queen's asleeping. And as best as you can tell by the shape and size of this, is that there's not a woman that's under this sheet. It seems at least 6'2", 6'3", and much broader shoulders than you would expect. It appears that the arms are crossed at the chest.
This could be the king. Asleep or enchanted under his wife's gaze. Because the portrait is looking at the bed, right?
Yeah, it is. And I think Vasilla at some point works her way over to the portrait. And
Yeah, I think that's the first place Aldrich would go to.
so at the very bottom, there's a beautiful brass etching that says the Queen Thurania at the very bottom. So it does appear this is her, a portrait of her.
Vasilla's gonna still mid-song, with a free hand, grab the sheet and slowly start pulling back on it to try to expose the body for the rest to get ready to swing their sword, obviously.
So you touch the sheet, and just as you start to draw back, to pull back the sheet, for each one of you, the sound starts deep in your head and seems to get louder from within, and then hits the ears, and then becomes excruciating, and it is a wailing scream to the point where all of you immediately are covering your ears and buckled with this. So I am going to
My bad,
first
guys.
do this fear attack against Osric. So this will be against your wits. Let's take a look and see what happens.
Sten is probably
Okay.
screaming, "What did you do?" But no one can hear. So
All right, so we've got this will be 2 damage to your wits, Osric.
2 damage to my wits. Okay.
All right. Next, let's do Sten.
and this is not resistible, right? This is just a thing that
Correct.
happens.
Every time I take damage, I get willpower, right? Is
That's
that
correct.
Correct. Okay, so that's 2 points of willpower. Hey.
So Sten, it appears you take 1 damage to your wits.
Okay.
Aldrich,
Do it.
1 damage to your wits.
Do that.
And then Vasilla.
All ones.
Almost.
1 damage to your wits.
Right.
Excruciating sound. It's centered on the painting. But to be clear, it started in your heads. And it lasts maybe 5 seconds before it crescendos to this very loud, just hurting your ears, confusing your mind. It's hard to keep. All you can do is focus on the noise and the pain. And then Vasilla, when she retreats her hand, it fades away.
Hmm.
Don't
All right, let's
don't
not do that.
then.
So it seems our suspicion is correct. This portrait seems to be the source of the magic. And
So-
it clearly doesn't want us waking its charge.
And
Is the
if
sense
you
of
do
magic
that-
still there?
From the painting,
Mhm.
no.
I think whatever it was has been triggered. It's
So you want to do it again? Is that what you're saying?
I was gonna say I can pull
I
a sheet
mean-
real quick.
By the way, Craig, are there any other exits from this room, or is this kind of the top?
All there is a balcony.
Okay.
But this isn't the highest spot of the tower, right?
Correct.
Oh, it is. No. Okay. So we still have a ways to go.
Yeah.
Did Vasilla pull the covers of the thing, or?
I had her stopping.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we can change that if need be.
I think
In my mind, it was a split second, just a react, because I would
Hmm.
imagine her hands immediately going to.
That's right.
yeah, dropping it.
With the hand off the sheet and kind of recovering from this this horrid scream in our heads. Based off of some of the things that we read, I almost want to look under the bed, see if there's anything of note. A crown, a jewel, a weapon, something along those lines.
There's several layers of sheets, obviously, that are one covering this body, and then there's several sheets under it that flow down, touching the floor. As you lift up, not touching the top sheet, you're seeing that this wooden huge canopy bed is built right into the floor itself. So
Ooh,
there
okay.
doesn't appear to be an under the bed situation.
Hmm.
The carvings are just ornate and gorgeous, though, on the edging along the sides of the bed where it meets the floor.
So the question before us is whether to disturb this figure in its sleep or leave it be and be on our way. Because if we mean to break the enchantment on whoever lies beneath there, I think we're going to have to destroy the painting first.
From what I can tell, the enchantment is broken, but I guess we can always take the next step and start breaking stuff.
So, and as you're saying that, Aldrich, you start to get a slight sense and taste coming from the painting again. It's very mild, it's very distant, and very weak, especially compared to the taste you got at the beginning when you walked in the room.
I think maybe we have a window. It seems to possibly be regaining power. Now that we're ready for it, maybe we try it again, and hopefully if the same effect happens, I can try to prevent that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take some little scraps of cloth, some bandages, and stuff them in my ears in case it helps.
Yeah, so this time I'm ready. I'm ready to essentially try to dispel magic if the effect hits us again.
Got it. Okay, so you have readied and are prepared to counter any magic that may be involved in creating this screech.
All right. So is this where I
Pull the
Vasilla pulls the sheet?
Yeah.
I think
This
so.
is where you do it again.
Just so everybody's aware, the chat wants us to lick the painting, but
Lick the
The
painting.
chat can.
it's too tall for a Vasilla chat.
Chat can lick the painting.
That's what happens when I actually cast sense magic. I really got to get in there.
What's up, Jay? Yeah, Vasilla looks at the party, sees everybody ready, and there's no subtlety. I'm ripping this sheet off, and I'm running back towards the party with the sheet in hand.
So we see Vasilla's hand reach onto the top of the bed, and even if Vasilla wanted to, she could not even reach the body. They could not even come close with her
Small
arms.
hands.
And it's really like, it's kind of like this, right? Like she's reaching, and she gets a handful of the sheet. And God bless you, Vasilla, you're fast. Like a magician pulling the tablecloth and leaving the silverware. You yank and run behind Osric all at once, dragging the sheet with you. And there, laying on the bed, is a man in robes, gold laden, seems untouched by time. His hands are on his chest, holding a sword that extends from the center of his chest all the way just past his feet, right along the center of his body. And Osric, the blade is unlike anything you've ever seen before. It's not a cold gray. It's not even a dark iron. It's reddish. It's got a red hue to it, a glints red, like a deep maroon red. The hands are gloved. Your eyes move up from the sword to the face. You see the crown. It's a simple crown. Looks to be made maybe of silver. You see the black hair extends past the shoulders. And the face, it's not a skull, but there are no eyes. And the skin has been drawn tight to the bones. You can see the teeth because the lips have pulled tight and taut around it. So you've seen animals like this that have been, left in dry, arid climates for a long time. There doesn't appear to be any flesh under the skin. There doesn't seem to be eyes in the sockets themselves. And the skin is kind of a gray.
Well, I had thought that perhaps the king lay sleeping under some enchantment, but it seems he is dead. That sword can only be Malagorn.
Well, is there a gem in it, or in the crown for that matter?
There's not a gem in it. And as a quick reminder, remember the secret that was told to you by our minstrel friend, that there is a monster that stalks Weatherstone.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only way to deal with that monster is using the king's sword, Rustbite.
I forgot he gave it a name.
But no, Sten, you don't see any type of ruby or emerald or any kind of thing any kind of indication in the blade nor the hilt.
So it's not that sword, which is just as well, I suppose.
I'm gonna take a guess that the sword the source of magic I sensed from the bed.
It is.
I think I would actually like to cast Identify Magic on the sword.
Okay.
So I think Aldrich goes over, seeing the sword now, and probably against everybody's better judgment, kind of leans over and touches it, and then kind of puts his finger to his lips. And we're gonna give that a cast.
And you're spending how much willpower?
Just the one.
Okay. And read to me what the spell does.
Let me go ahead and bring that up. Sense Magic. As a sorcerer druid, you automatically sense whenever someone uses magic. Would that apply here?
Or an
magic
item
item?
you hold is charged with magical power.
Oh, okay, thank you. If you want to know more about what kind of magic is involved, you must have Sense Magic. Using the spell is also required to detect obscured magic. Power level must be equal to or higher than the power level of the obscure magic spell. So if I'm trying to read past obscured magic, so...
Yeah, so if basically if this was imbued with an obscured magic spell, you would have to exceed the level of that spell that was cast on this.
Yeah.
So we'll spend the 1 willpower, so we'll roll just the 1d6. Is that the plan?
That is the plan.
And the way that magic works in the system,
Womp womp.
you have
The way magic works is it doesn't.
it automatically the spell goes off. So he is going to sense the magic, and if it at a power level 1, if this exceeds any obscured magic on this, he's going to get some information. When the amount of willpower you spend determines the power level. So in this case, he's using 1 willpower for power level 1, and you have to roll a die when that happens. And if you roll a 1 on any of the dice, then we have to do a mishap.
I'm sure this is fine.
So let's first talk about the taste. So you run your finger on the sword, really not disturbing it, right? Just lightly touching it.
Yeah, just
You put it to your tongue, and it's power. So it's a very strong taste.
Tastes like wasabi.
yep.
And the one image that flashes through as the taste works its way past down your tongue into your throat is the decimation and destruction of demons. So you get a flash of the sword slicing like butter through a large winged demon.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Nice.
So, and now our magic mishap.
Yeah,
The spell
see, it's mishap
backfires. An offensive
Oh,
spell affects you instead of your intended target. A protective or healing spell, when instead of healing, a shapeshift goes horribly wrong, a summoned undead, demon, or illusion turns against you. The GM specifies the details. So this was a sense magic. You taste it.
I feel like it like burns out my senses for a while.
Yeah, it's like overwhelming.
Like I won't be able to sense magic for a minute just because I'm just like tingling.
So you touch your tongue to it. You get this sense as it works its way back down your tongue into your throat, and then you feel it expand into your throat. So it coats your throat, this power, this feeling, and then you feel it rush out. And for everybody watching, it's a like that's the and like a smoke, a mist comes out. So I'd like you to lose half your willpower.
Oh, okay. Round it up or down?
Let's round down. So against you.
Okay. So from
how much
5
willpower
to
do you
2?
have?
I've got 5.
To 2. Yeah.
Okay.
And the feeling is the magic leaving you. So as you sensed and took in this magic and sensed this magic, it took from you more than you gave it.
So yeah, after Aldrich, taste
just real quick
this magic
on the long list of shit he could have rolled on this mishap table, this is phenomenal.
That was tame. That was super tame, and I'm very happy with that. So yeah, Aldrich's like heaving. They just.
You all right? What is it? Sten starts to come over and pound him on the back, and then sort of stops, realize he doesn't want to get any closer to this.
That sword is powerful. That is a bane of demons.
Well then, it is as the minstrel said. Perhaps this is our way out of here.
It gives us a hell of a good chance.
So I have a sword in my hand, and I whispered to the king, it's not much, but we have need of your sword. Take mine, and may it guard your sleep. And I, with one hand, will reach down and lift the king's blade and attempt to replace it with my own.
So Oscar, as you reach down and in kind of the Indiana Jones gesture of grabbing one to replace with the other, as you reach down to grab the blade, grabbing or grabbing the hilt, or we're grabbing the blade itself? Are we trying to remove his hands? How are we extracting Rustbite?
Yeah, I suppose I will put my hand on the king's hand and see if I can gently pry off the fingers, because he's a bit mummified. So it's
you have no difficulty doing that. So you're able to pull back the hand, the one hand, and it was held, double hilt with the sword pointed towards his feet. So I imagine you pry the first hand and slide off.
Exactly.
Second hand, slide off.
And then see if I can grab the hilt and lift it gently.
You put your hand around the hilt, and it happens quick. Both hands return
Ah,
on top of your hand.
uh-huh.
Let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be right back.
Nice.
God dang it.
Good spot. Good spot.
So with the bodies laid on the floor, Osric reaches up for his last breath as the blood. No, I'm kidding. So you reach down, you grab the hilt, and you begin to pull, and that's when the reaction happens. You pull, and both hands, gloved hands, come back, holding the hilt, but with your hand captured under it, and immediately pulls back with the sword itself. So let's quickly go ahead and do initiative. So if you go to your combat tracker, you should have a little die. Let's roll the die.
Hang on.
All right, so we got a 9 from Aldrich. Vasilla rolled a 4. I just need Osric and Sten. See the big D20?
I forgot to hit that.
There you go.
All right. Sten, did you roll yours?
I did. It's a 3.
Got it. Okay. And our king with the 2. So with this system, you guys get to determine the order. And technically at the table, you all would have a card. And you could exchange the cards between the 4 of you and decide who would go first. I have found online, playing this a few times now, I think it's easier to treat it much like Star Wars, FFG Star Wars, right? So we've got 3 PC slots, an NPC, and a PC slot.
Well, he got a 2 and I got a 3. I think we're all
Yeah, so we're all ahead, so it doesn't really matter what order we go into.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't show your 3 on mine, but all right. Let me
It shows it on
Okay,
mine.
great. So I'm going to do that, and I will fix it to the 3. So yeah, you all get to go first.
So it took hold of the hilt. So basically it has the sword in its hand.
It's pulled the sword away from you.
Yeah.
You still have not let go of your sword. So that happened before you replaced it, right? So
Mhm.
you still have your sword. You're kind of leaned over on the body and in a bit of an awkward position because unless you got on the bed, which I didn't get a sense that you did, you're very much leaned over because it's easily 5-6 foot between the edge of the bed and where the body is.
Yeah. It's really a big bed. So, yeah.
Should Vasilla do her war cry to kind of buff us and debuff our?
I mean, if we're fighting, I think we need to.
That's a good start.
I'm hoping we don't have to fight him, but
Yeah, Vasilla is going to go ahead and activate first. Is that the right term here? I'm thinking Malifaux, but
I was
she's
going
to act
Yeah,
first.
you're going to take the first slot.
Yeah, first slot, and she's going to do Path of the War Cry. She's a level 2, and so I have 4 willpower, and I can modify plus minus. I'm going to use 3 of my willpower.
Wow, nice. All right, so for those watching, can we give them a sense of what the power does, and then we'll talk about how it narratively happens.
Yes, I've got it popped up on the screen for everybody. So at rank 1, I'm able to basically buff my comrades within short range on all attacks during 1 round, and this is going to modify the results by +1 for every willpower I spend. So with the 3 willpower, they're basically getting +3 to their roll.
nice.
And I actually leveled up to rank 2 on this before the session, and this is actually going to debuff enemy combatants in our area for every willpower spent. So they're going to be -3 to their rolls.
And what is that duration on that?
It's actually during 1 round. Let me use 2 instead of 3.
Okay.
2 willpower instead of 3, just so I have something else to. I don't want to
Fall back
blow
on.
her load.
Yeah, it
which
looks like
sounds
it's
gross,
saying
but I'm sorry.
it's until your turn next round. So, if you go last, maybe we can.
Correct. You going first and then going last next time. That'll allow
Expand it out,
allow it to last
I like it.
at least for everybody. So everybody's going to be at +2 to any attacks, and the king will be at a -2 because you're at level 2 on that. But I'm not imagining Vasila's war cry as her pulling her lute out and singing a pretty song. So how does Vasila both inspire and hinder at the same time? What is Vasila's war cry?
If my kids weren't sleeping in a few rooms over, I'd totally go into character and make this work. But I just imagine Xena warrior princess and that "Ah, la, 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 la." That's what she's doing. She tried to serenade this dead body already and is kind of embarrassed by it at this point. So she's going to go as aggressive as Vasila knows and try to empower her friends with this war cry.
That's great. So now that's your slow action. What do you want to do with your fast action? Do you want to draw a weapon or?
I'd like to get in a defensive position, potentially, since I might be up front in front of other people. I'd like to get back and kind of stay safe.
Yeah. So
kind of
for your
away from the
fast action, let's get you kind of into the back corner of the room with the other three gents in front of you. How's that sound?
That'd be perfect.
All right. So that's our first slot. Vasila took that. We've got 3 more slots. Who's next?
I guess,
You're
I'll
there.
have to smack him. So I got tried to do this. Tried to
Bad
be polite
king.
about this.
You're so
but,
Bad
nice.
king. No sword for you.
uh, So I reversed my grip on the sword and I'm trying and strike him. And so
So when you do the roll, do it off your combat. You make sure you use the sword, and then for the modifier, it's going to be a +2 because of the inspiration from Vasila.
all right, so modifiers +2. This takes into account the gear already.
If you do it via the sword, correct?
Yeah. Let me check my talents real quick. Make sure, because I got Path of the Blade. Let me double check what that
D sheets
does,
are
because
usually
I
pretty
keep
good at taking
forgetting.
that into account.
+1 to attack and parry. There you go. So that's sword
Another
fighter. I
+1.
got level 2. So 2 enemies. No, it's only 1 enemy. And Path of the Blade means that I can bypass the armor. All right. So combat sheet, broadsword.
Do you want to use either of those? Do you want to spend willpower for either sword fighter or?
I get the +1 modifier +2 from Vasila, and I think if I hit, I have to hit, and then I can spend willpower
Got it.
to bypass the armor.
Got it. Yep, I'm
So-
with you. So you get the sword
so-
fighter without spending willpower. You have to spend willpower to bypass the armor. I'm with you.
Correct. So here we go.
That's a lot of dice.
A lot
It
of
is a lot of
dice.
dice.
And a couple
Uh-oh.
6s.
Yeah.
So right now you got 2 6s. The first 6 activates the sword, and then 1 additional damage. So it puts you at 2 + 1. So it's 3 damage right now with a bane. You do have the ability to push this.
I got 2 1s already, correct?
Uh,
Wait,
no,
one is a red.
Only the
So it
only the
doesn't
skill
count.
dice.
Red one means nothing, right? So the red on the skill dice means nothing. And
Yeah.
when you plus and minus, it adds and subtracts skill dice. So right now
Right.
you've got just the 1 bane on your ability. So
On
that
your
would mean you're going to
ability.
take 1 hit to at least 1 hit to your strength.
Okay. Do we risk it on the first roll? Sure.
I mean,
right?
it's a lot of dice, so if you're going to
That's a
do
lot
it,
of
this
dice.
is probably the time.
All right, let's do it.
All right, click the push.
Nice.
Better. I
Oh,
love it.
wow. Wow,
Yes.
6.
Risk it for the biscuit, dude.
Holy cow.
Ignore that
6
armor, too.
successes. So you picked up 4 additional successes. Now the next question is, do you want to spend the willpower
Yes.
to bypass the armor?
Yes.
All right. So that is straight up 7 damage.
Straight to him. And I don't take the strength damage because of the 1, right? It's
Yes,
as
you
long
do.
as you get.
You
Oh, okay.
still
So
do.
I
You
take
do.
it anyway.
Yeah.
And you get a willpower back.
And you get a willpower back.
Oh, nice.
So was it kind of a stab down motion, Aloy? Is that
I
what you're-
think so. I think so, because he's lying on the bed, right? So it's
Yeah.
like this, and then just like a big
So
swing down.
double-handed,
Yeah.
you bring it down, and
Yeah.
it goes right into his chest, right, just to kind of to the left of where the sword was,
Mhm.
and it goes all the way through,
Pinning
without
him
too
to the
much
bed.
without too much difficulty, and you were able to easily gauge weakness in what appeared to be chainmail that I think you spotted at the very top of his neck, that there was a chainmail under his robes, and right where the top of the chainmail and the bottom of the chainmail meets at the belt area, boom, right in there it goes in, and as that happens, you hear a come from its mouth, and it rolls away from you, and the sword tears with it. So you take parts of the cloth, and you can see the gray skin being pulled off by the sword. So your sword is in the bed now, and it's pulled away, but you have torn about a third of its chest. Did not go with it as it tears away. Who's next?
I would like to take a shot.
Okay.
Sten has been kind of standing back, sort of, he started when the hands moved, and he's like, "Oh, okay, we're doing this," and so he's sort of backing up and aiming and taking a shot, trying to get the king in the head.
Beautiful. So that's gonna be at a +2.
Yep, and I'm gonna add an additional one for aiming as a fast action because I don't need to ready weapon because I'm a
Great.
fast shooter. And I'm
So
going
that's a
to
+3.
put my character sheet back in so I can do this. Right, there's that. Yes, right. Longbow, hello. Why you not let me roll?
Are you popped out?
Yeah, I popped back in.
Pop
Just
in,
so
close
the
it, and bring it back out again.
Okay.
So reopen it after you've popped it back in.
All right. This makes gripping streaming, folks.
The tension is building.
Nope, doesn't seem to be.
All right. So let me just take a quick look here to make sure. Yeah, you were
Wait,
set.
sorry, I was doing it under gear, not under combat. Here
Got
we
it.
go. Okay, so got all that. Agility, marksmanship, gear. Modifier is going to be a total of +3. All right, so maybe it's not taking my my talent into account.
No, I think you have to push that in. So what's the talent?
The talent is sharpshooter, which just gives me another +1.
Okay, let's go ahead and add that. So it'll be a +3 total.
I
Plus
think
4.
that is +4 total.
Correct.
Again, if we're going to do this, I'd rather do it fast. Here we go.
Oh,
So the bead is pulled, the arrow is pulled back.
Mhm.
You've met your mark. That split second before you release. Are you making any adjustments?
Given the damage I have taken so far, and the fact that there's already 2 Banes here, I don't think I can risk it. So this is
So you-
probably not going to do much, if anything.
You release the arrow, and I think it all happens at once, where we see Osric going down, the sword breaks into his chest as this thing rolls. You hit it and skin the shoulder of it, but had it not rolled, it would have been square in the chest, which is probably where you were aiming. So you do hit it, but it does not seem to do nearly the amount of damage that you had hoped.
All right. Sten curses loudly and backpedals some more.
Hey, Craig, I might have missed it. Is that already automatically compensating for the +2 modifier?
They're
I added that.
manually adding it.
Manually adding it? Okay.
Yep. So that leaves me with Aldrich.
Yeah. So, seeing our dead king rising from the bed, Aldrich's going to try to disarm him. So I've got my dagger out. I'm going to try to kind of nick under and try to get the sword out of his hand.
Okay.
Roll disarm. Do I get the bonus for the
You do.
song for this? Sweet. All right, here we go. So 1 success should work unless this counts as a two-handed weapon.
It is a two-handed weapon.
Okay.
And that's what you need, 2 successes for a two-handed weapon, right?
To disarm a two-handed weapon, yeah. So
So-
I will go ahead and try to push this.
Okay.
There it is.
All
Nice.
right. So you're going to take 1 hit to your strength. And what does this disarmament look like? So now I'm imagining when you're doing that, Sten, he's kind of rolled off. He's got the sword both gripped as he's torn it out of Ostric's hand. The arrow hits his shoulder. He's kind of on his right hand, on his right shoulder as he's rolled away.
So I think Aldrich gets in, like he's got this dagger drawn, and he gets in close, like tries to get in close and starts wrestling with the king's arm, and he manages to knock basically kind of wrestle the sword out, but he gets a little bit of a nick on the arm, which is where the wound comes from, and then the sword falls to the ground.
Oh, sorry.
Excellent. Lord,
a
you greedy
mistake.
bastard.
No, no.
You
I'm
should
trying to
hit him
move-
again.
I'm
Keep
trying
that
to
roll for
move
next
the
turn, though, right?
I'm trying to move the sheet, and it just I hit the wrong place.
All right,
Was I
so
can't see.
the sword rolls away out of his hands, and now we have got our king. So the
dear.
first thing I'm going to do is roll, because I think he's got 2 legit targets right now. He's got Ostric as well as Aldrich. And it looks like Aldrich is going to be his target. And then him being a monster, I get to roll a random attack.
Oof.
So for his fast action, as you pry that weapon away, the rustbite starts to roll off the bed, and when he tore himself away from the sword, that wasn't a blindingly fast move. It was kind of a cranking, and you heard the creaking of his body as it tore away from that. And as you were fiddling with the dagger to release the sword and pull it away, again, his reactions were slow, and you didn't have a whole lot of difficulty getting that pushed away. At this moment, though, everything happens flash. So quickly, like a snake, it grasps the sword and pulls it back into its hand. And it's not like the kung fu like back move to stand up. It's more like the Dracula out of the coffin stand up. He just goes onto the top and standing at the top of the bed and swings his sword towards Aldrich.
Ruh-roh.
All right. And this is going to be at a -2.
Oh,
Dude!
that's a.
So
I would like to dodge.
all right. So that's going to be, he's got a total of 1, 2, 3 successes.
Yeah, it's weird. The chat
Why
count up
why-
is only saying 1. That's odd.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
why
why.
doesn't it add it up?
That's weird. So
Anyway,
Basila's song is only 2 attacks, right? That doesn't
Correct.
affect anything else. Okay. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, that helps.
All right. So that's going to get rid of, that's going to be a total of 2 successes. Now, let me just quickly check.
And then I can roll my
Armor.
armor as well.
Yes, you can.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Nothing from that.
Give me just a
worth a
moment.
shot.
Can I push my armor roll?
You cannot.
I had a push button. I just wasn't sure.
All right. So that is good. So you nullified 1 success, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to be a total of 3 damage from this sword as it swings and slices at the front of you as you are pulling back. So it'll be
That's the strength.
that is the strength.
That'll break me.
Okay.
Ugh.
Let's quickly roll your crit. Oh, hold on. Okay, it's not letting me do that, so let's do it this way. All right, so you got a slashed mouth, so it looks like he hit you in the face as you fall back, and we just see the blade cut from the cheek all the way back as it cuts there. So you're at -2 to any manipulation rolls. The healing is 1d6 days. You want to roll a d6 for me real quick?
Yes. Roll.
All right. So if you'll just jot down somewhere that you got a 2 on that. So in 2 days, so on the 13th, that will
That's
heal
not
on
as
its
bad as it
own.
looks.
Uh,
That'll buff right out.
Now we call him Glasgow Aldrich. Smiling Glasgow Aldrich is his
so
name.
you fall down broken.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a second attack. He gets 2 initiatives.
Oh.
So I think this time he's definitely going for Osric.
All right.
So I roll randomly to see what the attack is going to be. This is still at the -2 because Vasilla has not acted again.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Dude.
So is he attacking me with a sword? What does this?
I'll explain in just a second. So what it's
Okay.
doing is it's subtracting 2 from the results.
Oh,
So it's-
interesting.
Yeah. Which I don't completely understand. All right. So that's 4 successes. An unlucky adventurer stares directly.
Is that Vasilla's effect that it keeps?
So, yeah.
Oh, okay, that explains that. Okay.
So as he slashes, Osric, you get a slash on the face. You fall down. The blood is gushing down. It immediately turns to you, Osric. As you're standing there with the sword in the bed, you're beginning to pull the bed out, and it locks eyes with you. And what was empty sockets before
Okay.
now glow a blue, and it locks eyes with you, and you just feel a cold just pass through your entire body. So the damage itself. I gotta quickly look up poison. I apologize
That's okay.
because this is a
Poison,
poison
great.
attack. Potency 8.
Cool. That doesn't sound like a good number.
I gotta see what kind of resistance you have here.
2 is a good number. 8 is just
8 is too much.
yeah, it's too much.
It's too much. It's a lot.
All right, you get an endurance roll,
Okay.
and you're gonna want to beat the 4.
Endurance. Here we go.
Do you have
no.
something you want to roll instead because you're human? That would be more dice?
Good question, but actually no.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Do I get any bonus from
No bonus
Vasilla?
from Vasilla.
Just attacks.
On second thought, I could roll melee, which gives me 1 extra
Well, it's gonna
modifier.
it changes your
I could-
base ability, doesn't it? Not the skill.
Oh,
No,
good question.
the way it's phrased is that you re-roll any skill. You can roll for any skill of your choice, which it's not clear. It suggests to me that you'd be rolling that skill and whatever attribute is normally associated with.
Right.
You
So
can roll any skill of your choice to achieve the same result. So you can change the skill, is what it seems to me.
gotcha. Okay. I thought it was the base attribute. Okay. So
No,
yeah.
I
So
like. Okay.
yeah. So if you want to roll melee, you want to spend it and explain to me how melee is going to protect you from
Okay.
this ice stare. We can definitely do that.
Well, I draw my sword from the bed, right, to free my sword, and when I see the glowing eyes and I start feeling the cold, then I think the instinct is to lift the sword to sort of block my sight, right? So the blade sort of blocks my sight, and so
Just need 4 successes, my friend.
sure, no
all.
problem.
Oh, that's easy.
And no help from Basila, we said, right?
No help from
just
Vasilla,
attacks.
correct.
Cool.
But do roll it based off of the melee, not the sword itself, right? So you're not going to get a gear
Gotcha.
bonus.
No, here we go. It's 2. It's not
No
bad.
banes.
I'm going to push that.
Might as well. Oh, so close.
3.
All right.
Well, all
So
right.
you will take the bane. So you will take the damage.
Okay.
But you do get the full effect. So the full effect on this is you're going to take 1 point of damage to agility each round until you are broken.
Oof. Okay. So starting now, right? So I take one right now. Okay, done.
All right, so that is both attacks for it. We now go to the top of the round.
I would like to shoot him again.
Do you want to go first?
I mean, unless Osric, unless you want to go first.
It's fine. You can
Okay.
shoot him first, and then I
Yeah,
can try. and
Sten
hit him.
just yells. He's just pissed off right now. You son of a bitch! And just takes another shot. So same setup as before. With the aim.
You still get the +2
Yeah.
because Vasila's war cry is still in effect.
Yep. Surely we'll do better this time. I mean, that's better. And given our somewhat dire circumstances, I am going to push this. Okay, I can live with that.
All right, so that is going to be that's the damage to your agility, right?
Yep.
All right, so 1 damage to your agility, 4 total. What does the push look like? Where does the damage come from?
So basically, he has seen Aldrich go down. He sees Osric kind of staggering back under the onslaught of this thing. Sten is an old man. He's cranky. He's hurt. He's tired. He's scared. And he is just, the bow is all he has ever done. So he just sort of, as he yells out there, he reaches back, pulling back so much you can almost hear his battered ribs creaking and he just sort of follows, let's go.
Where are you aiming?
I would probably be aiming at his head or his throat.
So we see him stand up from the bed. We see him immediately turn to Aldrich and slash the sword with both hands, slicing his mouth open. He falls. He then turns to face the other threat that he immediately sees with Osric, and the blue glow comes from the eyes, and Osric is able to put the eyes up, but the chill is just at your bone. It's deep cold, a cold like you've never felt before. And as it's staring at you, that's when you, Osric, see the arrow. The arrow, almost in slow motion, comes to the head. The crown comes up. The arrow then starts to come off the other side, taking the head with it.
Oh, nice.
So with full speed, it's Sten pulls. We can hear the creaking of his ribs. We can hear the stretching of the bowstring as the arrow goes.
Yes.
Without a head, it stands. The king's head is back on the bed of the
Headboard.
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 Headboard. Thank you. The headboard by Sten's arrow.
The literal head board.
Exactly.
The sword slips out of its hand and falls to the bed. Its hands fall straight. The gloves slide off, taking the skin with it. You just see the bones. The bone fingers begin to crumble and separate as it all just collapses, robes and all, onto the bed.
Nice.
Right up to that first shot.
Is the damage ongoing still, or does that affect
Someone's gonna have to heal you.
Okay. Yeah. So I crumble to the ground on my knees.
So are we
shivering
still
and cold.
initiative here?
No, sir.
All right. Vasilla, which of these two is Vasilla closer to?
I was in the corner.
Okay.
So I think it was just you and I in the corner when Aldrich and Osric were closer.
Okay.
I
Okay. So basically, as soon as Sten sees the thing, stop moving and start to collapse, he goes running over to where Osric is and says, "Sita!" It just yells over his shoulder, "Sita, Aldrich!" and starts grabbing blankets off the bed and trying to warm Osric up and see if there's anything I can do to the injuries.
Yes.
Not that I have any medical skill, but
Breath is misting and he's shivering and it's so cold.
Stay with me now. Stay with me now. So I may not be a healer, but I do have a fair bit of survival experience that probably includes dealing with cold weather.
Oh, look at you using a
So
talent.
look at me using my human talents.
Let's spend that willpower. Good call.
It is done and well worth it. So yeah, let me make a survival roll. There's no modifiers on this, right?
For those of you watching that do play Forbidden Lands or have not yet, the more we play this, the stronger that human talent gets. It's a big
So good.
deal,
It's nice. It's nice.
and I love I love what it does narratively too. So you should be able to click the survival.
Yep. Yeah. Unless I'm getting a gear bonus for the blankets, I'm just going to roll it.
Yeah, just roll.
Okay. Well, that's a success.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that will be enough to get this effect off of him?
Are you asking?
Yes.
It's enough.
Okay. Then I'm not going to push it. So I'm a little.
All right.
beat
So
up
let's
right
quickly
now.
let's cover how survival skill is able to break him of this cold.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've probably been out hunting in the winter when it was a matter of survival for me, and I just know what to do to keep someone warm. You know, with the obvious stuff. It's honestly, and I know people are going to make comments, but screw you guys. Honestly, he's probably grabbing all the sheets and stuff off the bed and wrapping himself in with Osric
Yeah.
Right.
to try and get as much warmth in that cocoon as possible.
Yeah.
Yep, and I think in the matter of minutes, that last gasp of that freeze leaves your breath. We've got a sorcerer that's bleeding profusely on the other side of the bed.
Vasilla's running over there, and
Okay.
it takes her a little bit of time because of her little pitter patter going across the floor. But she finally gets over there and grabs what other blankets were not used or any kind of scrap fabric, and tries to tend to the wounds. And I imagine is that a healing roll?
It's a healing roll.
And that's no modifier. Lord, bear me strength.
Yeah.
Can I push that?
You sure can.
Yeah. YOLO.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. So
Cool.
you're no longer broken, Aldrich. You heal 2.
Oh, there we are.
And I'd like to understand how this all plays out. So we see Vasilla run over, grab some of the remaining, like I'm imagining like the skirt of the bed. She tears it off, presses it against his face, and it immediately fills with blood. And the push comes when she grabs yet another and tears another one off and quickly replaces, and is able to stop the bleeding at this point. And as you kind of gain your senses, you weren't really knocked out; you were just incapacitated.
Yeah, I think Aldrich's like like coughs up some blood and just like takes a hold and just did we do it?
That sounds like a good sign from over there.
Yeah. Yes, Aldrich. We I
I'm
did it all
alright.
by myself. No.
You had
Yes,
it
we
in
did
ya.
it. We did it, Aldrich.
I wasn't using my face anyways.
The girls will love it.
After he gets it kind of cleaned up, I think Aldrich would start probably tending to it a little more professionally. Like take a little water, wash it out, and then start like basically putting a bandage over the face, kind of in that area.
Stitching yourself up.
You kind of start that process, and I'm imagining about 2 minutes have passed between the arrow hitting the headboard with the head of the king skewered and the healing, the cocoon of warmth to end that cold embrace that Osric was under. But there's activity, there's noises, and it's coming from downstairs.
I don't need that.
It's a clattering. So at first it sounds like metal, like someone's dropping metal. and
So
then it
it's-
sounds more organized, and it starts to get louder.
Is there a door heading into this room?
There is.
Okay. I just yell, "Shut the damn door!" And if I think Osric is sort of stable, I'm gonna just start trying to extricate myself from this cocoon.
Thank you, Sten. Quickly. It
Yeah,
seems we've got company.
you think?
And I grab onto the bed and lift myself up from the ground.
Big dumb idiot grabbing the king's sword.
So my sword is in the ground, so I dropped it. So I reach for the king's blade.
All right, let me go ahead and put rust light in your inventory. Okay, you should see it now under combat.
What is this crown? Is this crown worth grabbing? Is it what we think it might be?
It's a beautiful. It doesn't seem to be matching any of the sketches that you saw in the book, and it doesn't seem to have a place to. Doesn't have any rubies or emeralds in it, or a place to mark one. So it doesn't appear to be Stanagist, the legendary crown that's being talked about. But it does look to be made of silver.
Vasilla will go and grab it and attach it to her belt satchel.
Okay.
I don't know if she
Replace the
has them
circlet
for-
you lost.
Go ahead, mark somewhere, Nick, so we remember that, and I'll put it in the sheet later.
You got it.
All right, the door's wide open. Someone has yelled to close the door.
If it's still open when I get out of the cocoon, I'll shut it myself.
Okay.
Do I
You
see
run
anything
over,
coming up the stairs as I run over?
slam the door. So at this point, you don't, but based
Okay.
off of where you're hearing the noises comes, there are steps. Something is going up that first flight of steps, and it doesn't sound like just two sets of feet.
Is there any furniture that is close enough to shove in front of the door?
There is, if you want to grab some desks.
That seems
some
like a
bureaus.
relevant thing at this time.
Aldrich would limp up and start helping with that.
Vasilla
So-
wouldn't help because she's no good, but she'll make it to the balcony because I'd like to see if there's another way out of this place.
So I'm thinking a crafting roll. Let's kind
I
of
can do
let's have somebody do a crafting roll to kind of what's the quality of the barricade that we're able to cobble together here. And obviously you're getting help. So if Aldrich is leading the charge as your
Yes.
craft person, I think other people are obviously helping move and doing that. So it'll be at a +2.
+2. Okay, cool.
1 and 1.
It's better than nothing.
I will let you push this if you'd like.
Yep, risk it.
You
right.
think? All right. I don't know what your
Oh,
status is.
no.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's-
well, at least it's.
Oh, you just want all the
This is in the
willpower.
same-
I know
Yeah.
how this works.
Hey, it's win-win, right?
I also
All
appear
right.
to have re-broken myself.
So that breaks you.
It's
again.
not
That's
working
why
too
I-
hard.
This breaks you from the strength level, right? So there won't be a critical from the push. But you are now 0 strength and essentially just, I would imagine, just exhausted.
Yeah, I grab like the heaviest thing I can find and just
Mhm.
push it, and then like I'm like leaning against, just like
And the effort must
too
have
much,
torn open your wound again. So
too much, too fast.
All right. Well, I'll kind of half lift, half pull him back away from the door.
So you've got a couple different pieces of a bureau and a desk kind of piled up against it. And you hear the first, and you can see the door going, and it's going to hold. It's not clear for how long.
Mm-hmm. Hello, what do we got?
stand ready, and I ready the sword. It's two-handed, so I grab it in both hands and get ready to receive the charge. Vasilla, Sten, behind the bed. You'll have a better barricaded position.
Yeah.
Take Aldrich, because Aldrich can't do anything, right? If he's broken, he can't.
I'm winded.
Can he crawl?
He can.
I will drag him behind the bed. I'm not going to leave him out
All
there.
right.
You know, I'm like limping back with you, just like.
Vasilla needs to take a look because I don't think we know what's on this balcony, just to get a quick eye to see if there's like a quick escape or a.
So
I don't know.
Vasily, you run out to this balcony, and a lot of the railing of this balcony has decayed away. It's kind of a stone area there. The balcony itself could easily hold 4 or 5 people. You would imagine at some point there may have been furniture out here to look out over this veil where this thing is. But there's also a crane of some sort. So you see this mechanism
Nice.
that stretches out from the balcony, and there's a chain wrapped around a kind of a wheel mechanism. And at the end of this chain, there's a hook, and what looks to be like a thatched handle. So taking it all in at once, your best guess is that this was a crane that at some point had a thatched basket attached to it, and that basket is long decayed and gone away. Judging by the chain, looking down where you are, if you were able to let this chain go, it could potentially reach the bottom.
Oh my God, it's actually on the illustration. I love it.
There you go. Vasilla,
Banging
bungee
again.
jump with a chain.
So we're on the side of the boom of this crane. Is that correct?
So
It's attached to
you
where we're
stepped
at?
out from the balcony, and it literally took you to right here.
Yeah.
Right there. Is there any
And
mechanism
and
to?
just so you know, I'm adjusting things a little bit. I'm putting essentially
Right,
the
right.
crane up here. So
That's fine.
don't
I
be
ain't gonna argue.
Yeah, I'm putting it on a balcony. So don't get lost in the illustration.
Is there a mechanism to reel this thing down and up at the base of this?
Yeah,
Um,
there sure is.
I'm not even going to go hide. I'm going to start cranking this thing down and try to get this hoist or
hook
crane
down,
to hook all the way down to the bottom as close to the bottom as I can.
So Vasily,
Well,
you grab the wheeled handle and you start to yank, and you notice the green and the red rust on the chain, on all the mechanisms and the gears, and you're not able to move this thing. It seems locked by age and by
Age.
rust.
Guess there's no WD-40. I communicate that to the guys and ask for any kind of assistance to try to get this thing down. Osric, there's a crane here. I need help. Do you have a moment? Do we have enough time?
Osric, you go push. I'll hold these bastards off.
All right. So I guess I'll run over to Vasilla and see if I can force the mechanism.
So
As
between
as
Go ahead.
Osric's passing, I would kind of, if I can, just kind of offer up. I like pull out my last little bit of lantern oil. Just
Oh,
oil might
nice.
help.
I like it.
So all of
Nice.
this is happening at once. Osric, are you grabbing the oil?
Sure. Why not?
Okay, you grab it from Aldrich's hand. Sten is pressed up against the back of this, and the door is now pressed open far enough that the first skeletal hand comes out from behind the door, and you just see it reaching, trying to grab. It reaches to the wall. It reaches to the door.
Sounds
right
like
by
that's
your
open
head.
wide enough for an arrow to go through.
It's enough for an arm to fit through.
This is our
but-
friend the beast from before, right?
No,
No,
this,
this
it's a
is
skeleton. It sounds
skeletal
like.
hand.
Oh, so it's a new thing.
Yeah.
It's those things
Also,
that were
Craig-
at the first floor.
Oh.
It sounds like all the soldiers got up since we disturbed the king.
Oh, okay.
Right now, Sten, where you are pressed against this, it is having an impact on preventing that door from giving way.
Okay, then I guess I'll stay here and sort of edge a little bit away from the hand so it doesn't grab me.
Yeah,
I
just
did
imagine
realize,
it
by
just
the way-
clanging against your head, but not reaching
Mhm.
you. You're able to keep your head away.
Yeah, I did realize that I needed to make 2 arrow rolls for those 2 shots. I
Oh,
took in
let's
the
go ahead and
fight.
do that
So
real
we'll
quick.
Do that real quick. So that one's good.
And speaking of, do you want me to roll torches for my oil that I just
Yep,
gave to
let's, go
Osric?
ahead, let's do that.
Cool. We're good.
All right. Wasn't the last of your oil. Osric, you run to the balcony. You've got the oil in hand. Vasilla is there trying to get the
Mhm.
crank going.
So I'll open the flask and see if I can just pour it on the mechanism itself and say, "Step aside, little one," and grab the crank myself and try to force it.
All right, let's go ahead and let's give yourself a +2 gear bonus, and let's do a strength roll.
So it would be might, right?
Correct.
Correct. So it's might. You said you were going to give me what? 2 gear
+2
bonus?
for the gear. Yep.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, let's go. Ooh.
So
should
you
help.
pour the oil, getting the gears and some of the chain too, because you can see where the chain is causing some of the problems where you've got some Versilis that has connected parts of the chain on there, and it's yank, and then it gives, and you see some chipping of metal go as you're able to then crank and control this, and you start seeing the chain work its way down.
Okay. Hang on to the hook, little one. Might as well go down with the first.
First trip.
With the first trip.
For the
Yeah.
first trip. This might be metagaming. I don't know if Vasilla would know this, but and she's one with lore. Vasilla wants to put this crown on her head and try to bark an order at the skeletons walking through, trying to go through the door, and see if they react in any way, shape, or form. Put on a performance, put some umph and command to guard the lower floor, and see if it works. Just as while they're getting this
Yep.
lamp oil attached.
Your best
and
Lich
everything
King
else.
imitation.
So you
Yes,
put the
exactly.
you put the crown on, and at first the crown goes all the way to your shoulders. And then you kind of pull it back up again and kind of tilt it so it lays on the head, and you stand with your arms
Imperiously.
at your hips, chest out, and you bark to say, "Guard the first floor, guard the first floor," and the only reaction you get is from Sten as the skeletal hand is grabbing.
Ow!
Sten just
But that was a very Vasilla thing.
That was
Oh,
perfect.
I know
Yeah.
Nick was
Yeah.
worried.
Inspired.
You
I'm
know, that the
imagining this
betrayal is true. Yes, it is.
Okay. She's defeated, but she's going down. She's gonna go
Aw.
climb out, and I don't know if she needs to climb the boom to go down the rope, but she's gonna do
Yeah.
so.
and there's not, we don't need rolls for this. So she's now at the end of this hook as you're starting to lower her down. As that continues, Aldrich, as you are kind of crawling, you've kind of passed the oil. You're still laying near the bed, but on the ground, and you do sense power again, but not from the painting, not from the sword, but from within the bed.
Interesting.
And as potent as the sword tasted, it's nothing compared to the strength of flavor that you're getting from the air now that you're down at floor level.
Yeah, I can't ignore that. Like I started turning towards, like, crawling towards the balcony, and then just kind of and I'm like crawling, just like coughing up more blood, like looking under the bed, like.
So as you lift up the bed, you just see the wood, because if you remember, the bed is built right into the floor itself.
Okay.
But it's what you're sensing is beyond this, so deeper.
Like underneath the foundation of the bed.
If anything, it feels inside the foundation of this bed.
Ah,
So it definitely feels above the floor.
I guess, could I roll something to see if I can find, like, some kind of, like, a hidden latch or something? See if there's anything in the bed.
Unfortunately, your broken ass ain't doing anything.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not rolling any dice. But you do get this sense magic. But you do not have the strength or the will to really even concentrate enough.
Okay.
But you can crawl, you can yell, you can obviously do all of that. You're not unconscious.
Yeah, I think he's literally just like just very engaged in this, like trying to figure out how to get in here. And he can't. He doesn't have the strength to right now.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
But we've come this far.
We've got the sword.
There's something else.
And does a loud, audible sigh and eye roll. And I feel like, Craig, if I feel like if I step away from this door, these things are going to start busting through.
I think if you step away from this door, you have got maybe less than a minute before this gives.
Okay, I can
That's your
work with a
best
minute.
estimate.
All right. So I'm gonna head over the bed. I'm gonna say, "Get out there!" To Eldrick. Thank you. And then basically, I'm gonna pull the mattress off the bed. And is it just like a flat wood surface, or
There
there's
is.
slats? I'm just gonna take my knife and try and start prying things loose.
So under the direction of Aldrich, you kind of get a sense of where this is, and you did have little difficulty. So the first dagger strike goes through, and it's not a thick wood that's
Okay.
under here. And you start stabbing through. You're able to pull that away, and inside on the floor, now that it's obviously hollow at this point, you look down and you can see it's about 2.5 feet long. This gorgeous hilt. At the end, it has. I don't want to give this thing justice. So give me just a second. It's a gold pressed brass, like I said, about 2.5 long. At the very end, you see 3 long ceremonial gold chains coming off of this. It's obviously some sort of scepter. And immediately your eyes go to the sharded jewel that's embedded at the very top of this thing.
Oh, Sten says this is a bad idea, and he reaches down and grabs it.
Okay, you've got it.
And then I'm going to grab Aldrich with my other hand and drag him out to the balcony.
All right, so let me just quickly.
Told you so.
Yeah, tell me about it when your mouth heals.
So as that happens, I'm now imagining we've got Vasila about 15 feet from the bottom. The door is now open, but there's enough debris and stuff in there that the first skeleton that's working its way through, in partially clothed in this royal guard armor, you see it trying to crawl to get over the obstacles that are in the way. But right now the door is only open enough where it looks like it's going to be a one at a time thing, and it's taking a hot second for that thing to work its way through.
Good.
Aldrich, you're on the ground on the balcony. Sten, you're standing there. And we've got Ostrich winding the chain down.
Just a few more feet. Hold it off.
Hold it off, he says. Does this thing look like it's... I mean, this is not intended as a weapon, right? This is not a mace or anything. It's just more ceremonial, I think.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great.
Maybe Basila had the right idea.
That would honestly never occur to Stan.
That is true.
And unfortunately, Vasila's on the ground,
Right.
way far away and unable to know what's really going on.
Yeah.
Vasila's
So he'll
trying
just...
to like swing on this damn hook to try to gain some momentum to try to hit a side to where maybe she can tie this rope off earlier than later, off to something off the. If I'm assuming we're here in this cavern where there might be something on the opposite side, or
No, it's gonna go. It's gonna where this ends up taking you is to here at the edge, all the way down.
all the way down. So if anything, maybe
And
if I see this first ledge, if I can try to swing my way over to that side and maybe tie
Sure.
off to a rope, just in case if these things come crawling out like World War Z, we're not getting bombarded by dead skeletons on us.
Yeah. So let's do.
Oh shit! You're gonna make me roll.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be something agility based. Let's do a move roll as you start to swing the chain.
She's just too light. She's just sitting there swinging. She can't do anything.
Chain's too heavy.
yeah, chain's too heavy. She's too light. It's just not working.
All right, let's go ahead and let's go to the combat tracker and let's roll for initiative. Unfortunately, Aldrich, you will not be rolling.
I'll be safer that way. Once again, I am the slowest of people.
Ouch.
All
Ouch.
right.
Two
So-
skeletons, one of us. Wow.
The first skeleton is going to take the first slot, and it is now free of the door, works its way to the ground. The second skeleton is going to go and is now working its way through the door itself. The other two skeletons are not through the door yet. So we are now at 2 PC slots. Or 1 PC slot, I apologize.
So I think I should
mean, yeah,
should
go
I
ahead.
stop cranking the chain? Because we
I mean, at this point, you said it was about a 15-foot fall.
You're one slow action from getting Vasilla to the bottom.
Hmm. Okay, so I got one slow and one fast. Is that the deal? Is drawing the sword a fast action?
It is.
So I'll use my slow to crank Vasilla down, and when that is done, I'll draw my sword and stand ready for whatever comes this way.
All right. So the next two skeletons are going to take their slots, working their way through the door. We've got Vasilla and Sten. Before we get to the top of the order, at the top of the order, two of these skeletons will be in a position to actually act.
Oh, great.
Well, Sten, if you can grab, take Aldrich, go down the chain. I'll hold them off. You do what you want. I'm just
Yeah, Sten basically says, I can't carry him and climb, you go. And he turns around and takes a shot at the nearest skeleton.
Okay.
And I don't have any exciting bonuses here except my inbuilt +1. It's not bad. I am not going to push at this point. Actually, no.
All right. So the arrow penetrates into the shoulder of the skeleton. It doesn't seem too affected by it. It's now standing up, and the sword or the arrow kind of, as it penetrates through, it looks like it maybe only the armor and the clothing is what seems to be keeping it in place as it stands up. So you have damaged it, but
Not much.
not a whole ton. All right. So that leaves us with Vasilla for the last act.
Vasilla's stuck there on the hook, and it's.
You're at the ground.
Oh, I'm at the ground. Okay.
Osbrook has gotten you to the ground.
I really don't know what to do here. I don't think I know what's going on. I'm just sitting there, just looking up, going, guys.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Good
no, it seems
away.
legit.
Yeah.
All right. So the first skeleton is going to go take an action, and it's not going to be in a position where it's going to be able to swing with its sword. The sword is not readied yet. It's still on its belt. So it's actually just going to do a might on you, Sten.
Oh, okay.
So this is literally it just swinging at you.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're looking at 1 damage.
Okay. Can
you,
I dodge that thing?
You can dodge. Yep.
That looks like a. I'm not seeing that like as a thing to roll on the.
If you go
on
to
the
combat, down towards the bottom, I believe there's a dodge.
Oh, there it is. All right, cool. It's giving me a -2 modifier. I'm not sure why.
Let me see here.
I mean, I've got 2 points of damage, but it's already reduced my agility. Oh no, it's because it's a move roll on my broken ribs. Okay, got it. That's legit. All right, well, this is going to be terrible. Yep, sure is.
All right, so go ahead and take 1 damage to your strength as this thing
Okay.
essentially punches you.
Ow!
Next one doing the same thing. Actually, no, this next one is going to take its action to draw the sword and get engaged with you.
Great.
So we now have a PC slot.
But who hasn't acted yet?
Well, no, it's a fresh round. Osric, I
Oh,
think
it's a
you
fresh
take,
round.
Yeah, take Aldrich and get out of here.
Oh. Are you gonna try and follow? Or...
I'm gonna try, but you guys go first.
Well, it's either that or standing and fighting for these things, just you and me. So I'm gonna try then and lift Aldrich and start climbing down the chain with him. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Craig is thoroughly disappointed in us.
He's back.
Oh, there
He's
we
back.
go.
There he is. Hey, we got out of the castle.
Woo! Man, that was an amazing escape.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna try. Oh, cool. Sorry, Stan.
Please don't die. I'll feel really guilty.
All right, so the next skeleton's going to use its action to get into the room. So now we have 3 skeletons active in the room.
Mm-hmm. Craig, I just sent you a question in OBS chat, and I think I know the answer, but I want to double check.
Quick look. You do not.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. So it's me then, huh?
It is.
All right. Well, so I've got like 3 of these things up in on me. I've got this scepter in my belt. Well, I don't think I can survive another round fighting these things. So what would happen? I don't know all the rules about like disengaging or anything like that, but basically I just want to run and jump to try and catch this chain. And if I miss, they're not going to get my body.
Let's do a move roll.
Okay. Well, as we've established, my move rolls are terrible. So
this would be a good one to do well.
Yes.
But
human talent.
I know. I'm
Survival.
spending a willpower to make it into a survival roll. Because there was that time I had to get away from an angry boar and had to jump across that river and catch onto a tree branch. So this is kind of like that, except much more terrifying. So yeah, let's see what happens.
I see a success.
It's like the slow motion. It's like I'm jumping the chains over here. It's like like swings around it and just manages to hang on.
So you grab it with the one hand, Sten, and you begin to descend, and you're actually moving much faster. So you're very quickly now matched at the head of Osric as he's still got his arm holding Aldrich, and you begin to work down. Looking up, you can see the first skeletal warrior just walks off the edge of the balcony and falls past you. And Vasilla, you see two of your party members, comrades, friends coming down the chain, and then you see the skeletal body fall, and the skeleton is moving as it's going. You're seeing its mouth chatter, and it crashes at your feet, and the bones go everywhere.
Flying up.
And so now it's almost, to the episode music. We see the two of you slide down as one by one. Each of these skeletal
Nice.
warriors just walk off the edge of this balcony and falling down. Sten, as
Not only
you're
were they stupid, we could have stayed up there.
2/3 of your way through,
Uh-huh.
you happen to look up at that land bridge,
Uh-huh.
and you see the stain of blood that's running down the side of that. And that creature again locks eyes with you, standing there,
Oh, hell.
and you see it jet into the door back from where it came.
Okay, I'm frankly fine with that.
It's gonna come barreling out of the moat house.
All four of you are at the bottom. Who wants to take a bath? Who wants to jump in the water?
You're a funny man.
No, sir.
Vasilla's
No.
strategically throwing skeleton hands into the water to make sure that if these things come back, they just have no
Over
hands to
there.
hit us with.
Okay, that's great.
I love it. I love it. I suggest we stagger away from this castle.
Yes. We don't. According to the drawing, we're in solid ground, right? We don't need to cross the moat anymore.
Correct. This got you on the other side of the moat.
I suggest we need to get back to the, what do we call it? The watchtower. Yeah, we need to get there. And
Were there any bones in the watchtower?
I don't remember any.
There were like rabbit bones from where
Okay.
you had been fed.
From
But
dinner.
no.
I think we can handle zombie rabbits, hopefully. Yeah, that may be our best bet because we can't go very far.
And if the beast is somehow escapes the castle and swims across the moat, we'll need a defensible position to hold it off.
Yeah. All right.
So,
All right. Cool. Now that we're on solid ground, I can try and get Aldrich up and moving.
So you guys injured, beat all to hell,
Yup.
make it back to where this all started. This entire journey and time in Weatherstone started. Everything's still cleared out from where it was left before. Do we want any healing to happen?
I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Vasilla's
Who's
looking
doing-
around
who's
at
doing
these.
What does that look like?
Basilla's looking around going, "Oh my god, I'm only one person. I can only help one at a
I
time."
mean, at this point, I think Aldrich just passes. He
Yeah.
passes out.
I can see that.
Like he'll check on people when he's better.
Right. That's fair.
So Vasilla will go help Aldrich since
Yeah.
he's the worst. Because clearly I can't carry him. So she's gonna go and try to help.
Let's do it.
Right, healing. Yeah, I'm pushing the hell out of that. Sorry.
Yeah,
did I take any wits damage today?
There we go.
you
I'm
did.
gonna
You took
take
the witch damage from the
2.
scream.
Ah, that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, wait a minute.
All right, so let's go ahead and heal one, Aldrich.
Sweet.
So
I take
Aldrich's no-
2 empathy damage, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So you
And
are no
willpower.
longer broken.
Thanks again. Oh,
And Sten, who has been trying to make some kind of primitive barricade at the door, just kind of tosses the scepter over to you and says, "I hope that bloody thing's worth it."
I do too. But I can't. I think it must be. And can I do another detect magic?
Sure
Or-
can.
All right, let me. I'll spend a willpower on that. Bring that back up. Where's that? Sense magic. Whew, no mishap.
All right. So it's obviously successful. So here's what you get a sense from as you are close to it and
Mhm.
run your nose against it.
Haven't you learned anything?
Licks the scepter.
Thank you, Aloy.
Yeah.
And this will be a combination of the sense magic and you just having this in your hands. If you were to take this and swing at anything of substance, it would likely bend or break. So it's surprisingly fragile. But the power you sense from this is a power of leadership and command. So you get a sense that with this, the holder of this is a leader of men and can command armies.
Well, I would say the stories were true. It has the power of command.
The other thing you
Leadership.
sense is its connection to the ground. It seems connected. And the only image you get is taking the scepter and slamming it to the ground.
I mean, I gotta do it.
Do you, bro?
Do you now? Maybe do it
Nope.
when we're all
Nope,
feeling a little
I
better.
have to now.
Oh God!
I step out of the
Do it.
watchtower and boom.
So as that strikes, you feel from the ruby down through the shaft, through your hands, extend into the ground, and you see the ripples and the cracks. So just the rippling of the ground around exudes out almost as if you had slammed it into water. And you can see it breaking parts of the land bridge that goes from the watchtower to the main area. You see part of it crumble and fall into the moat itself.
Whoa.
Careful with that thing. You'll bring the whole tower down on us.
Like
Basilic.
I said, maybe not now.
And that power, that connection that you felt with the ground is much weaker now, but you can already tell that it wants to grow.
Fascinating.
Vasilla takes note and is always going to be 2 steps behind Aldrich.
All right. Any last healing rolls?
Can we do any more? Because I am pretty injured.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
can I do
Can I
one?
attempt it again?
Sure. So let's do it on Ostrich.
I was gonna say I could do one too. If we wanted.
One person can be healed once per attempt.
Okay.
So it's not like you can do it
Gotcha.
then, Vassil. So who wants to do the healing to whom?
I've got a 4 to heal. Aldrich, are you any better?
I'd be rolling 5 dice right now.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, so I will give Osric the heals.
All right. So right now we're healing 1.
So I can
Yeah,
take
push
1 point off of any of my
Oh,
3
he's-
injuries.
He's
Go ahead and
pushing.
take 3.
Go ahead and take
Ooh.
3. So what do you want
Nice.
to heal, Ostrich? Now, right now, with this healing, it can only be to agility or to strength.
Oh, okay. So I'll take it to strength.
Okay. So heal 3 to strength. Anybody else?
Oh,
getting
actually, that doesn't matter. I don't know if you need any more, but I forgot my gear bonus for bandages.
how much do you get? What's the gear bonus?
I only
Just
have
one.
2.
All
I
right, just
only
roll-
have 2
roll-
strength.
Oh, to heal
damage.
anyway. Okay.
So it can't. I can't use the leftover points for agility, can I?
No.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Any last heals?
I just need some sleep.
Okay. So the camera is watching all of this happening. We see Aldrich come back in holding the scepter with just a look of joy and a smile on his face. As he puts it back into his backpack, he gives Ostrich his attention. Sten, leaning up against the wall, just exhausted and tired. Camera's panning back outside of the watchtower. And as it pans back, we then can see the front of Weatherstone again. And through the door, 2 red eyes appear. Let's go to credits and we'll be back on the other side. All right. So again, a big sigh of oh my goodness, talks of how epic this was. Aloy, you
Ooh.
there's quite a up and down and with back and forth. Was I guess my first question is, seasoned as you are as a role player, is there anything that surprised you?
Surprised me. It's gonna sound like it wasn't fun,
No,
but that's
no.
not it. No,
Yeah.
not really surprised. Like everything made sense to me and wasn't entire. I can't say anything was really surprising. I think it
Mhm.
was a lot of fun the way we handled it, and I think there was some unexpected maneuvers by the other players, right? So like the Vasilla putting on the crown to try to control the that was a beautiful spontaneous moment, right? That I didn't really expect, but it fits in retrospect perfectly well. So no. It's the only surprise is that Stan's leap of faith actually paid off.
Yeah, the
It's
surprise
like,
is that we all
yes!
lived.
Yeah. Oh, I was so worried we were gonna lose Stan. I was gonna feel so bad.
Yeah, and my one moment of confusion was the skeletal hand. For a second, it's like, wait, is this the beast that somebody somehow got here? And then it's like, no, it's the skeletons. It's okay, now it makes sense because we attacked the king,
Yeah.
right? So I wouldn't call it surprise though. It's like a little bit of confusion, but awesome session. Pretty
Yeah, that
cool.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Nate, we got a question from the group here. So Kyle asks, do you have any regrets for not picking up some of those books?
Yeah, I mean, if I had more time and like inventory space, like Aldrich would be like, and time, Aldrich would be scouring that library. But me playing him and character knows that I can't keep everybody here. Like we're already mission set on getting out of this place. Like I can't keep everyone in this library. So at least I have the journal. So
yeah,
we got that for us.
And Sidewinder, to answer your question is Aldrich's wound. He was healed to strength, but is he still broken until 2 days go by? So the answer to that is as long as he has at least one of his base attributes, he's no longer broken. So when he was healed, he's no longer broken, but that wound to his face and the -2 to any manipulation rolls, that's going to be in place until was 2 days. Is that what you rolled?
Yeah, 2 days.
Yeah. So until the 13th. Yeah, he's going to be at a -2 for all manipulation rolls.
Of course, I have a feeling with that scepter, he might have a bonus to manipulation rolls.
So Nate, you're in charge of putting together the last time on Forbidden Lands. clips together to start session 7. What are the 3 clips that you would show to get people ready for the next session? What are the highlights of this session?
Let's see. I mean, definitely the king grabbing
Yes.
Osric's hands. Like that was
And-
just that the brief moment of just unlatch hand, grab sword. Nope. Well, there's the trap. I really liked Sten at the end, just tearing through the bed, like, all right, I guess we're checking this now. So just like tearing through the bed, and then you have this reveal of this beautiful scepter that we took with us, and then I'd probably slip in one with the crown moment, because the crown moment was absolutely inspired. Just like, stop, go to the first floor. That didn't work. And then finally end the clip with the staff hitting the ground.
Yeah.
The drama of that, and obviously the follow-up that's going to come with it.
So, Brian, for you, do you have a sense of what's next for the 4 of you?
I have a feeling that, after we each sleep for about 12 hours, there's going to be sort of a moment where we'll kind of come to ourselves and like, okay, we have, in addition to the sword of demon slaying, which seems relevant to the state of the world, we have this literal legendary artifact in our possession. And given what we've been told about it, there's going to be a lot of powerful forces interested in that. And I think we're in trouble. So I think we're going to need to figure out who we want to try and get this thing to, because I don't think we're the right people to have it. And I think if we try and keep it, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. So you survived a session of Forbidden Lands.
Somehow.
Nick Westbrook has unfortunately been playing with another group, has been playing Forbidden Lands. You've had the worst luck.
Oh God.
And
yeah.
I think this is the first time you've played a full session in a while. What would be your highlight reel, Nick?
The king moment where that the hands come back to the hilt, I think would be a highlight reel of like suspense, and like if in a movie that would be like the moment, like holy shit.
Yeah.
But the funny quirky things that I love about Vasilla, she sang to a dead dude in a bed. It's like, okay, she tried that hat thing, and I just really love this character that Maeve has put together and built on, and I hope I made her proud with this session, because I really enjoyed it. I really did.
I think Maeve is going to be very happy. It felt like Vasilla to me, and I think Aloy even called that out as well. So I think that's great. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking some time off from Forbidden Lands. We're going to start season 2 potentially around December. So I'm going to talk to these 4 cast members and see maybe if we can start season 2 in December. So we'll be taking a little time off, but that's not the end of the streaming here on Third Floor Wars. So for those of you watching on Twitch or YouTube, a couple things coming up. Tomorrow is a biggie at 6:00 Eastern is our premiere of Mothership. If you're not familiar with Mothership, it is a hell of a game. I know Aloy is a huge fan of the system. It's an OSR, really ode to Alien, but with some Cthulhu in there and cosmic horror, and it's a beautiful game. So if you want sci-fi horror, make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Mothership game. It'll be at 6:00 here on Twitch and on YouTube. And then on Saturday at 9 p.m. is our Fear Itself episode 3. That has been very intense first couple episodes, and this third episode, I literally don't know what's going to happen, which as a GM doesn't happen very often, and I'm very excited. It's another strong cast, so this has been that'll be the second horror. This is a different type of horror, though. This is more psychological body horror movie type horror versus the sci-fi cosmic horror that we're going to see tomorrow. Next week Next Thursday, keep your eyes open. We're going to be learning how to play Vagrant Song. So Weird Games is releasing Vagrant Song, and we've got one of the designers of that game teaching 4 of us how to play it on Tabletop Simulator. So for those of you that are interested in board games, I'm hearing really good stuff about this one. I can't wait to learn how to play it. So that's going to be happening next Thursday. And then just make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Gentlemen, I'm looking forward to season 2.
Same.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Um,
Can't come soon enough.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it seems like a long way.
It does.
I don't know if we want to do it on stream, but we should definitely do experience before we forget.
Oh, yeah, let's do that right now. Good call out. So let me grab my book. Let's go through our triggers. Thank you for reminding me, because I had not.
Yeah,
thought
no, I
about
want to get some. I mean, I don't get a magic sword or a big scepter or anything. I want to get something out of this.
But we look our next rumors. We look into magic bows.
Oh, okay, fine.
All right. So, did you participate in the game session? You gain 1 XP. Did you travel through at least 1 hex? No. Did you discover a new adventure site? No. Did you defeat 1 or more monsters? You sure did. So everybody gets an XP for that. Did you find a treasure worth 1 gold or more? Boy, you sure did. So there's actually, it's going to end up being 3 XP. You've got the crown, you've got the sword, and you've got the scepter. So that's 3 XP.
So we're at 5. Yeah.
Did you build a function in your stronghold? No. Did you activate your pride? Nobody activated their pride. Did anybody suffer from their dark secret? Okay.
No.
Did you risk your life for
Actually,
another?
Hold
Oh,
on.
go ahead.
Thinking of Dark Secret. My Aldrich's Dark Secret is something in the Ravenlands whispers my name on the winds. Could that maybe apply to the Scepter calling to him at the very end?
Yeah, I'll give you an XP for that.
Cool.
All right. Did you risk your life for another PC?
Aldrich certainly did.
Yeah.
Not Aldrich, Sten.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely,
Certainly
Stan.
did.
I think
Okay.
Sten gets that XP.
I'll
And
take
then I'm
it.
also going to give 1 to Osric for the grabbing and bringing everybody down the chain there.
Yeah,
Carrying our sorcerer down the chain. So that'll be another 1 for there. And then, did you perform an extraordinary action of some kind? The answer is yes. I am giving that to Vasilla for the awesome put the crown on the head and order the skeletons to the first floor. So go ahead and give Vasilla an XP for that.
All right.
All right. Wonderful. So for those of you that watched this either live, great chat, by the way, or watching the recording, we appreciate you watching. Take care. We'll see everybody in season